Can anyone catch them, do you think?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, unbelievable. We didn't expect that.
You ready? No! Whatever the weather, these streets are our own, and one will leave you never. My blood will forever run through the storm.
Hi, everyone. So welcome to another episode of the Gooners podcast. We've got Mitch back with us and Rob today. So Rob's wearing his jersey. So that's cool. And I saw the number on back. That's Campbell. Oh, number 20. This is actually a great kit. And I'm happy that Adidas is putting out great kits too. So yeah, that we were discussing about that just before the start. And we are here to talk about the preview for the West Ham United games. But before that, I need to take a moment to laugh at Bruno Fernandes because I didn't get the chance to laugh at his penalty in the previous podcast. So I have to take a moment. I hate that player. Like there are some players in certain teams that, you just hate them. And he's one of them for me. So welcome back, Rob. Welcome back. How have you been?
Yeah, I've been very well, thank you. Absolutely loving the last two games, although the Manchester United game is a bit bittersweet for me because I didn't actually make the game. I was playing golf in the morning, but I started really early, 6:52 in the morning. I started because I thought then I'll have time to go to the game. And then I was driving to the game, and the main road was shut by the police, traffic everywhere. I just could not believe it, so I had to turn back and miss the game.
Oh.
So I thought I'm not going to get there. I'm going to get there in the middle of the second half. So I thought at least I can go home and watch the game. So while I was enjoying the game at home, it was really bittersweet because I was thinking I should be there enjoying it in person. But yeah, what a turnaround in events.
Welcome back, Mitch. How have you been?
I'm good. Thanks for having me for the first time on here. We've been trying to figure it out for a little bit, but I'm glad I could join you guys for the first time.
Yeah. So literally those two games kind of brought back me from dead. Before that,
absolutely,
3 losses have me going oh no, that's it. Our season for top 4 chase is done. And then 2 games which we didn't expect to win, we won, and now our season is back on track. At least so that's the part, right? Me and Mitch were talking before the recording, Rob. We had different expectations for the team for the season, at the start of the season, right? We were all hoping for a top 6. We'd be good if we could finish in top 6, push it next season into top 4, something like that. But now top 4 is reality here, right? Top 4 is ours to lose. Literally, if we win the next 2 games and we go to the North London Derby, it's literally it's ours to lose. So how are you feeling about this whole thought, moving the goalpost in a sense, right? Arsenal fans had an expectation that's different, and now that we are here, we have literally moved the goalpost for the team to achieve. So if we achieve it, yeah, well and good. But if we don't, would that be considered a failure?
It's a good question because I think it goes in chapters. We ended last season really well. I think we won 5 games on the run. People will say, yeah, but it was a strange season. Clubs were on the beach, but still, we ended up on a high, and we were in Europe for about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Before Spurs scored, and then thankfully knocked us out of the Conference Cup. So anyway, so we ended on a high. So, and then obviously we lost the first 3 games of the season, for different reasons, which we've all covered. And now people are looking, thinking we could get relegated. So we've gone from thinking we could get into Europe, and now we're looking. Oh my God, we could get relegated here. We're in bits. So there are two thoughts here. There is one thought where we should get in Europe this season. This is like at the beginning of the season, we're thinking we should get to Europe, and then a couple of games, 3 games, 4 games in, we're thinking we need to survive, and then suddenly we're in the position we're in. There's no way in a million years I'm a very positive Arsenal fan. I could not see us getting into top 4 at the beginning of the season. And I'm a very positive Arsenal fan. I just could not see it. There was so much going on. There was obviously you've got Man City, Liverpool, and then Chelsea, and then you're thinking Manchester United as well.
When they signed Ronaldo,
yeah, you're thinking that's it, top 4, so that's done. So we're challenging now against some other good teams outside that top 4. Leicester, being one of them. The lot down the road.
Love it when you call them the lot down the road.
We're thinking, right, it could actually be quite a struggle now to get into the top 6. And as you say, we're now in a position where it's in our hands. We could get top 4, and no one could be critical of Arsenal in this position because it's so ahead of schedule. It's ahead of schedule. Arteta would be a miracle worker if he gets us into top 4 so early on in his Arsenal career.
But that's the problem I have a little bit. I'm also thinking that yes, it's great and everything, right, Mitch? But the problem for me in this whole thing is if you consider the whole squad, except I think Xhaka, Partey, El Neni, and maybe Lacazette, none of our players know Champions League. None of our not just in the first 11, in our squad, no one has played Champions League literally. And Xhaka played in his first season at Arsenal, Champions League maybe, and El Neni is not the future of Arsenal by any stretch, and Lacazette is definitely not future at the Arsenal. So for me, even though I would love to be in Champions League, this team, is it ready? Or the squad, is it ready for Champions League? I'm not saying we have to go in and win, but would we even make a dent in Champions League? Would we be better?
Do you know what? Yeah. That's a fantastic point. And I was only thinking this when I was sitting down watching the Manchester City game against Real Madrid, and the quality of football on display was incredible. Particularly Real Madrid players, the touch and the way they played it around, and it was yes, we're enjoying Arsenal play when Arsenal get these good performances in and good results. We're enjoying their performances, but it's another level.
Yeah,
it's definitely another level, and you're right. So a lot of people were saying when we were struggling a couple of weeks ago, thinking, "Oh, we're not ready to go into Champions League. Europa is better," which is a good point to a degree, but we've got to knock on that door. And if we're in the Champions League, surely we're attracting those players that can take us to another level. So maybe for the first season, we will be competing to get out of our group, and then maybe get through a knockout round. It's all building blocks, isn't it?
True.
Or we could just go to Europa Cup and think, oh, actually, we could win the Europa Cup. This team could win the Europa Cup, especially with another transfer window. But See, that makes me think when Arsene Wenger's
It's a difficult choice.
yeah,
Um,
I know. Arsene Wenger's been so criticised because he's won nothing in Europe for Arsenal because we were 22 years in the Champions League in a competition where we got to the final once where we could have won it. We should have won it a few years earlier. We lost to Chelsea. And Wenger's been very vocal about that. He said he made a mistake. He should have played a weakened team against Manchester United in the semi-final a few days earlier in the FA Cup and concentrated on that game. He didn't, and we were knackered against Chelsea, and we lost. We could have won the Champions League that year, and that's yeah. But anyway, but the fact is, we were in the top competition for 22 years, competing against all the top teams. And that's why we never won in Europe. Whereas if he was in one of the lower European competitions, we probably would have won a couple.
Sure. Yeah, Mitch, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of expectations, I don't think that a lot of people had Champions League expectations for us at the beginning of the season. And I think that in terms of deciding whether the season is a failure or a success, I think a lot of it has to be based on preseason expectations rather than changing and moving the goalposts. I think that if we do finish fifth, it would be disappointing at this stage, but by no means a failure, because I think there is a difference. I think we've set up a point where we're in striking distance, we have an ability to finish in the top four. If we don't, we will be disappointed, but it does not mean it's a failure of a season. I think the progress will still be there. I think the goal still needs to be Champions League, no matter what, at the point that we're in right now. But because we can sign better players, even though our squad's really young, and I think that we would benefit by being in the Europa League next season, potentially, even if we didn't get top four. Proving that we are the fourth best team in the country gets that building block of us becoming the third, becoming the second, becoming the first. We need to, with a young team, to be able to have that confidence booster of getting fourth in a full season with this really young core, and then you bring in some of these a top talent. If we get Champions League, I'm salivating at the idea of Victor Osimhen signing with Arsenal in the summer. There's so many opportunities that could be there for us if we make the Champions League, but it's also by no means the end of the world if we don't. I think we're in a good spot. These last two games were really, really big in terms of showing what kind of team we can be. I think Spurs have won a lot of games this year they haven't really necessarily deserved to win. And I don't think we had enough of those. I think we're starting to get those a little more where I don't think United and Chelsea, I think we deserve to win those games, but they were by no means our best performances that we've had this season. I think we had shaky moments. Our defenses looked a little hurried, and I think it'll start to get better once we get a little bit more stability. And by stability, I mean Takahiro Tomiyasu back in the team. And so I think that the ability to grind out wins, the ability to to take these opportunities, to win these games, Christensen takes a bad touch, Nketiah is going to put this away. That's something that we've needed. This ability to just put this away, win 4-2 at Stamford Bridge against the champions of Europe. That's a statement performance. That's what we saw when we came back and beat Wolves. We need to keep having performances like that, and less of what we saw of complacency we saw against Brighton and Southampton and in those three matches in that losing streak. So having this build up and having us being in a good spot for the Champions League, if we make it, would be a rousing success for the club, rousing success for these young players, and would be fantastic and would be ahead of schedule. If we fall short, by no means a failure, even though it will be disappointing. And and I'm really excited for the direction that we're headed. Whether we finish 4th or 5th.
But I have a follow-up question on that, Mitch. Right, like literally. So the last season when we ended, or the season before that, one of the biggest points that were made against like sacking of Arteta is like, okay, who's there out in the market if we sack Arteta? And the answer was there was no one out there in the market during that time. Like we were pulling out names which were like out of nowhere. Like literally, we didn't have quality managers out in the market to say like, yeah, we could go and get this person and it would be a definite success. But right now, when you look at the market out there, like, and it seems like Conte is going to go to PSG, or he has put his name in the hat, and I'm laughing at Spurs again for that. But still, we have like people out there in the market, in managers who are proven, who has shown what they have done. And would that increase the stress on our manager? Like literally, like, do you think if we fall short of top 4, there's going to be a case that could be made like, okay, yeah, we gave you a chance, you tried, and you did make success, but we found someone who is better at doing this?
I don't think that the club would do that. I think that they have a very clear long-term plan and intent in place. I think that just like the growth that we've seen within the front office positions since Wenger leaving, and through KSE as well, in terms of the growth with the ownership of wanting to advance Arsenal. I think there's no reason. I don't think there's a manager in the world that Arsenal is like, we need them so badly that we're going to sack Arteta if we get 5th. Like Arteta at this point, not getting sacked. Like he will have his job next season. If we fall short of Champions League, we're going to have to hear about it all summer from the little gremlins on Twitter, like making up shit. But like, we're going to be like, it's a clear advancement from where we are. And there's clearly a very clear long-term plan and direction. We saw it last summer with the amount of signings we made. We saw it in January with the fact that we didn't make signings. I was talking to you before the pod, like it would be more disappointing for Spurs to miss out on top 4 than it would be for us, because we are so much more of a long-term project. Conte's never been with a team for more than 3 years. So they are not building a long-term project. They're going to go out and they're going to go buy players at January that he needs to fill the team to try to make this top 4 push, because he's not going to be here forever. He's maybe here for a season more, and maybe even not, with these rumors that he might even be leaving at the end of the season. So we're in a really, really good position long term. Arteta has, I think, proven himself this year. I was prior to the season, I was like, I'm always going to back the Arsenal manager, but prior to the season, I'm like, I don't know if I'm completely sold on Arteta. I don't think he gets sacked this year. I think it would have been dire circumstances for him to get sacked. Like we would have had to been like in a legit relegation battle for the Arsenal board to consider sacking him this season, I think, until at the very least the end of the season. And so I think we've seen a progress. We've seen him bring in his players that fit his philosophy. We've cleared out a lot of dead wood. We aren't having these like leaked stories anymore of things that are happening behind the scenes. The culture has improved. We've seen it as fans of like the connection that fans have had with the players, and with it, like the fans are singing Super Mick Arteta after wins. Like I don't think there's been a better connection between the fans and the team in years. I think that directly correlates to we're getting results. That's really good. But I think Mikel Arteta has proven himself to be potentially on a trajectory to be one of the best managers in the world. And the fact that we didn't go out and just like give up too early will be a real testament. It's going to be something that Manchester United have to follow a little bit with Erik ten Hag, where they need to clear out this dead wood. They need to give him time. They need to let him get his players, because I've seen Man United fans. I know that they're excited about Ten Hag right now, but if they
did the
don't
same
get
thing
the signings,
with Ole at the wheel. They said the same thing about
exactly.
Boss is in when Jose signed for them. So
Exactly. Things can change. And I think the biggest thing you can do with a manager who's a little bit more inexperienced, I think Ten Hag and Arteta have very different situations. And Ten Hag has been a manager with Ajax and had success with Ajax. And Arteta, this was his first true manager job. But, time is important. Trust is important. That's something that Arsenal has given Arteta. And I think we're going to see it flourish as this project continues to bang.
We've even had Paul Scholes. Now, Paul Scholes never says anything nice about Arsenal, ever. He despises Arsenal.
Yeah.
We've even had Paul Scholes this week highlighting what Arteta has done at Arsenal and saying that's what needs to be done at Manchester United.
We won.
I mean,
we won.
Exactly. What more can you say? He's saying basically Arteta has made tough decisions, and this is what Manchester United's new manager has to do. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. I did want to raise the point. Do you think we would be a bit more relaxed about this top four fight if it was against like us and say Leicester, as opposed to us and Spurs?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's like that little bit more of like, not only if we get top four, we'll be going back to the Champions League for the first time in a while, but we also get to celebrate St. Tottenham's Day, which we haven't in a minute. And we hate Spurs, so like, why would we want them? Would we be cool if they or if they finished above us? So like, yeah, there's this added pressure and this added thing of like, not only is this a top four race, but it's like with our biggest rivals, which I think just adds a lot to it.
Literally, like a couple of days ago, I went to a house party here. One of my friends, common friend, he's a Spurs fan. I went like, I was like, hey, you are a genuinely nice person, except that you support Spurs. So I don't think we could be like friends or anything. So that's how much we hate Spurs, like literally. So that's going to be the reason that, like, yeah, definitely over them, it would be awesome if we could finish over them and, put them in their place, because literally the team is not that great. Like they talked about all this thing, but their only get out of jail card is like Kane and Son playing well, right?
Absolutely.
Pass to them and they score, they play well. That's it. And sometimes that Bergwijn guy will come and score. But apart from that, there's literally no one in that team. Like, if I tell you, who do you want from Spurs, apart from Kane and Son, you wouldn't pick one player out of them.
I like Koyevsky, the guy they signed from Juventus in January. He was someone that I liked of us potentially looking at for like wing depth when we sell Pepe. So it's a little disappointing to see him go to Spurs, but and he's playing really well. He's a really good player.
He's on loan, isn't he?
Yeah, it's like a weird, like, it's a very weird like loan with a buy option, loan with an obligation, but it's like a 2-year loan, and then
So
they
he'll
buy
go to
like
PSG as well then.
maybe.
But getting back to the West Ham game, right? West Ham are at the lowest point. That is literally, they are out of center backs. I don't think they have any center backs that they could play. And they lost 2-1 to who did they? Frankfurt, maybe in the Europa League. So their second leg
is a bit of a shock.
Yeah. So it's like their second leg is next week, which is the semifinal. They should be focusing on that. We know that. But saying all this and also remembering that it's Arsenal we are talking about, although it should be in paper a straight win for us, there's this, I don't know, kind of a niggling fear that this could be a difficult game than what it is on paper. Do you guys have that fear?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's going to be a difficult game. West Ham's a good team. So you have that like little fear that like maybe we're taking this a little too not as seriously. Like West Ham still has things to play for. Like if they win, they go ahead of Man United and then they're in a Europa League spot. And I'm sure that they will want to be in the Europa League again next season. So it's not like they don't have anything to play for. Like this is going to be a tough game. Still away match. West Ham's a good team. They've got some injury issues right now, but we look at ourselves, so do we. So yeah, I mean, like, there's always that little fear especially when we've been like a little bit wild of late, of like losing to teams that we should have beat and beating teams that maybe we shouldn't have. So,
There's no team that we shouldn't have.
There's no easy game in the Premier League. Like that's just the bottom of it. That there's no easy game in the Premier League. So I really hope that the squad has no like thought process of like, oh, this is gonna be easy because of all these things. Because there's literally no game that we should go in being like that. I don't care if the entire team's hurt and they're putting out their academy prospects. I don't think there's any single game that we should be complacent and be like, yeah, we're going to win this automatically. But because it's the Premier League, anyone can beat anyone.
True. Rob, so let me start with the team selection, right? Like with you. Now that we saw Tomiyasu come back, I don't know if he's fully fit to play the entire game, but would you have Tomiyasu in the team? And if you have Tomiyasu in the team, would you take out Nuno Tavares or would you take out Cedric? Like play Cedric on the other side, or you'll be like, yeah, Cedric, you could sit out. Nuno, you could play on your left back.
It was great to have Tomiyasu back. As soon as he was on the pitch, you could see the class, what a difference he makes. I was only thinking earlier today, actually, about this podcast. We did so well to get that player. He was linked to Spurs, and he would have improved Spurs, definitely. So we did so well getting him. Obviously, I hope he starts. I'm not there. I can't see where he is with match fitness. I'd love to see him start. We don't play for another week, do we? When's our next game?
Oh, on Sunday, I think 8th of May, I guess, is it?
Yeah. So hopefully we can afford to get him to start the game, because we need to start well. We need to get going. Put this game out of sight early on. There's no excuses. We've got to win this game. We have to win this game. It's been handed to us on a plate, really. They played Thursday night, a tough game. They're playing the most important game in their history for so many years next Thursday. I get what you mean. It's important that West Ham get points to go above Manchester United, but I'm sure they're not thinking of that. They're thinking of the doorway to the Champions League in this cup, which they can win. So I'm hoping they'll have one eye on Europe, and we need to capitalise on that, be professional, and just basically put the game out of reach early on. And Tomiyasu playing, I think he will definitely help with that. Who he takes over, the obvious choice, I think, is Cedric. Give him a break. He's been playing quite a lot of football recently. Put him in instead of Cedric.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it's always better to have as many players playing their correct position. So I mean, Nuno Tavares has been a little bit sporadic in his playing glass. Really? Yeah, I mean, I think that's just the definition of Nuno Tavares, is just he's a sporadic player. But I think having Tomiyasu is going to help him a lot and just help us in general defensively. I think being able to have Tomiyasu be that more reliant defensive force to be able to tuck in and invert gives Nuno more reign to go forward, where he can be really effective. He's really good at underlapping and overlapping. He has a lot of unique facets to his game that's really, really useful when he's able to get high and wide. And we've seen that. He scored against Manchester United, so we're seeing. There
was also another moment when in the United game he ended up higher than I think Eddie, and because he was at the shooting position, which was like, I was like, what are you doing here?
Yeah. I mean, he's really, really good at getting into these high attacking positions, and having Tomiyasu back is going to be really, really beneficial so that we can have a little bit more stability defensively. And so that back four of Tomiyasu, White, Gabriel, and Nuno is going to be really, really good. I think we'll see a little bit more of stability and less of the craziness than we saw in certain moments against Chelsea and United, where we conceded goals.
What I like about Tavares is his strength of character is you cannot doubt. It's incredible what he's gone through this season. He's been taken off during the first half. He's been pillared by fans on some angles, but he's in there. He doesn't hide, does he? He gets stuck in and he keeps ploughing away. So he's got an amazing strength of character, and that's really good to see.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing is, like, I remember Arteta mentioning about when he was not playing Gabriel Martinelli, right? He was saying like, oh, he needs gears in his games. Like, he always plays at 100%. He doesn't have to do that. I think Tavares does something similar. Like, he's always like 100% on his game. So he just needs to like learn to slow down, take a breath. Like, you don't have to be always like in your 100% during a game. I think he will.
He had a shot. He had a shot against Manchester United, didn't he? And if he only had just calmed down a little bit, he just snatched at it. It was a really good chance, and he just snatched, and it went over the bar. Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, I think like if he does that, he would be like a really good backup. I didn't understand the whole Arsenal Twitter media going over about like, oh, we need a left back now because Tavares is not good enough. Like, no, he's a kid. He's a backup. He's not the first choice. He's a backup. He will have his time to grow and develop. I think like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think he's done exactly what we've signed him to do. And I'm really glad that Arteta is now putting his faith in him a little bit here at the business end of the season, because if he can come into left back and do a good job there when we don't have Tierney, it helps us way more, because I don't want to see Xhaka at left back, because I don't think he's a bad left back per se. Like, he's not awful when he plays the role, but I think we just lose so much when we take Xhaka out of midfield. So the ability to kind of just revert back to this 4-2-3-1, have the fullbacks playing high and wide, and have Xhaka be in midfield and have Tavares be at left back, I think just helps us tactically so much.
I agree. Yeah, so just to continue the conversation, right? Like, on the midfield, were you guys as surprised about like El Nini? I don't know if it's his brother or someone coming out and saying like he would sign any contract that Arsenal put in front of him. Like, I was really surprised. I thought like he would be ready to go, because we have not treated him that well. Like, at least from fans' perspective or even from team's perspective, he gets to play games, but he's not like a starter. He's not treated that well, but somehow he has this connection with Arsenal. And I also felt the same during United game when all the players like kind of huddled around him and like gave him all those,
I mean, like one of my favorite pictures from last season actually was when El Neni scored in the Europa League. He scored one of his classic long range bangers, because that's all he does. And just like the ecstatic nature of like the entire team running after him after he scored is just like such a great photo. And it's one of my favorites from last season. And I think that tells a pretty good story on how Mo is like thought of within Arsenal. I mean, like, he's one of the few players that Mikel played with while he was with the team. And they seemed like, I remember reading things about like that they had a really, really good connection when they were teammates. And now that they're like, he came back from loan from Besiktas when Arteta took over, and he's like, yeah, you're going to be a part of the team still, because he very easily could have left then. The club has clearly wanted Mo to stay around, because I don't think there's anything unlikable about Mohamed El Neni, just as the person from what we can see. But then as the player, he's one of those players that just like doesn't really do like bad performances very often. He's a very consistent player where he's gonna get a 6 or 7 out of 10 most games he plays, and then every once in a while he'll drop some fantastic matches as he has the last two. It's good to have veteran presences. It's good to have veteran presences that have been with the team a long time. Like, why do you think James Milner is still at Liverpool or Fernandinho is still at Manchester City? I think you need players like this sometimes that don't necessarily play all the time, that can come in and be a player that like the team can be around and stuff like that. So I think it kind of makes sense that El Neni would want to stay with Arsenal. I mean, like, he probably likes living in London, probably likes all of his teammates and stuff. So like, and if Arsenal gave him a 1-year deal, like as the same role, he's not on high wages. It's way different than like the Lacazette situation, where Lacazette's on super high wages. If we gave him another year deal, like, would he take reduced wages? Like, would he take like super reduced play time? But I feel like these two situations are very different, because Mo is in a very different place in his career where he's way lower wages. He clearly isn't like a every single week I need to be playing kind of player, even though he very easily could go to a different team in Europe and probably play weekly. So if he's willing to take a reduced role with Arsenal, I mean, that sounds good to me on paper with the club. Same thing, like when there was a lot of discourse about Lacazette a couple months ago, I was like, I'm fine either way, whatever the club does. Of if we let him go for free, fine. If we want to keep him around for 1 more year and try to get a reduced contract or whatever, I'm also fine with that. And I'm kind of in the same boat about El Neni. So I understand why the club would want to keep him. I understand why he would want to stay. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think, I mean, at this point, he's not going to be dropped. I think him and Xhaka are playing really well in a pivot, which I was someone who's a really big fan of Sambi Lokonga. That's a little disappointing, because like I would love to see Sambi come in and play really well, because we've seen these flashes of Sambi of like what he can be and what he can grow into. And I think playing in matches like this would be really good for him. But if Mo's playing the way he is, there's no reason to drop him. And if we make Champions League because of Mohamed El Neni, that's crazy. Like if like the turning point in our season is Eddie Nketiah and Mohamed El Neni, of like both their contracts are expiring at the end of the year, and like those are the two players that are like leading us to the Champions League. This season is just unbelievable.
Literally, this is going to be this Amazon's documentary that's happening all around.
I'm so excited.
It's going to be
so excited.
I keep forgetting about that. And then,
But Rob, like Mitch made a great point, right? Like, it's like you don't want to change that midfield combination, especially like. But for this game, for the West Ham game, if there's one game which we could actually do that, is this game, right? If we could bring in Sambi, it's like literally, because West Ham, like we talked about, they have more important games that they have to play, and they could play a very weekend team. So if there's one game that I wouldn't actually. Sorry?
I feel like this is the one game I wouldn't. Like, this is like where El Neni's played 2 great games, and you're like, yeah, let's just keep this going. Let's keep him in.
Yeah,
he and Xhaka are being a really good pivot together. Why would you change it right now?
Yep.
Just leave it as it is. Absolutely, because it could continue. This could be the rest of the season. This could be how it lines up for the rest of the season. Because I mean, they did so well. El Neni did so well. He's just comfortable, isn't he? When he's on the ball, you don't tense up. You don't get frightened. What's he going to do? He's going to lose it. He's so comfortable. And I think Mitch made a great point, actually. I don't know what his personal circumstances are, but you've got to look at someone. You know, are they comfortable at home? They love where they live. They enjoy the settings. do they really want the upheaval of a new country? I don't know if he has children, new schools, and new houses. He obviously loves being at Arsenal. So why move if all of a sudden he's got this role to play? And let's not forget next season we will be in Europe in some form. We need players like him, even if it is to play second fiddle to a new signing. But we need a bigger squad, and he would be a fantastic person to keep for that reason.
True. But there's also like one more midfield position that I'm actually gonna ask like both of you about, right? Like Smith Rowe and Martinelli are two different players, but they are suited for that left midfield, that left forward kind of role. Although I would like both of them to be on the pitch, I think there's always going to be this conflict of either one of them could be on pitch at one point in time.
I think that I mean, there's obviously ways around it. Like a lot of people want to see Martinelli at striker, and there's some people that like I still have this like feeling that like having Odegaard and Smith Rowe as eights together could work and could be really effective. It's yet to be that. Every single time we've seen that, our midfield has been overrun and not done well. Granted, I feel like most of the circumstances in which we've done it is when our midfield has been shorthanded. And I feel like Sambi has been the one to play the lone six, anchoring that midfield a lot. And I don't think you can put that much trust into Sambi to anchor that midfield alone. Partey did against Crystal Palace in the 2-2 game at the beginning of the season with Smith Rowe and Odegaard. And I think it was still when he was like a little bit developing into that lone pivot. So it's been something that I think could be really good, like having Smith Rowe or Odegaard in those eights, and then you have a perfect front line of Saka, Odegaard, the striker, Smith Rowe, and Martinelli across the front line. There's so much creativity, so many different outlets. That's just a dream come true in terms of 5 players going forward. The issue is just like that midfield has been just so unbalanced every time we've done it. I want it to work really badly, but I don't, because like it's clearly modeling after the Manchester City system. It's clearly looking at what they're able to do with Bernardo and De Bruyne as the 8s, and then Rodri as the 6, and being like these 2 creative outlets that have a lot of room going forward, and then a defensive anchor to hold it all together. And I don't know. I think Thomas Partey can be that anchor with the 2 of them as 8s. We just don't have a big enough sample size in that particular midfield of Partey, Smith Rowe, and Odegaard. I want to see it. I want it to succeed because I feel like it could be like we're talking about this like kind of Xhaka replacement at that left 8 when we kind of commit more to the 4-3-3, and it would be really nice if that was Odegaard, because I don't know if there's any, or if it was Smith Rowe, because I don't know if there's any like midfielders that we've been like linked to or anything that like perfectly fits the role to a T of like at this point, I think we need like an all-round kind of box-to-box player to play that role.
If only we could bring back 2016's Aaron Ramsey.
Yeah, or like Xhaka.
At a time machine, we could
quality.
Just go and pluck him out.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
so like having more of an all-round midfielder in that role, I feel like is the direction that we'll end up going in. Like someone where you have the dependability of Xhaka defensively, but then also a little bit more bite in the attack and a little bit more technical quality in the final third. But I think a lot of I think there's a group of fans that would totally agree with me of like really wanting this in particular to work with Smith Rowe and Odegaard as the 8s. I think that would be really, really good, but we've yet to see it work. So it creates this issue with like Martinelli and Smith Rowe kind of both being in the left wing, but depth is good, especially when we go into playing more matches next season, having two of them playing the same position isn't going to necessarily hurt us.
But Rob, like, do you see like Martinelli coming in for this game? Like for this game specifically, do you see like Rob, like, do you see Martinelli coming in, especially if we are going to play Nuno? I feel that Arteta trusts Martinelli to do the defensive job more than like he trusts Smith Rowe to do it.
Funny enough, Martinelli has been starting from the bench recently, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, that's true, because also Smith Rowe is like one of our top scorers. I think.
Yeah.
Saka is top scorer now, but Smith Rowe is second.
Yeah.
Smith Rowe had a bad game against Man United. I'd start Martinelli personally.
Yeah. Martinelli is fantastic. He's world class in my mind, and he's got to start. Yes, we've got to start strong. We can't afford not to. All our top players out on the pitch. We've got to put this game to bed. Martinelli has been fantastic, and he starts for me. It's ridiculous. Smith Rowe is such a great player, and he's just been coming on in defence from substitute bench so many times, and you think, well, we've got to find a way to get them both starting. We've got to find a way to have Smith Rowe start on the pitch. But then, as you said, Mitch, we've got to fast forward to next season. There's going to be plenty of opportunity, because we're going to have so many games to play. We at the moment we're playing one game a week on average, and that's so unlike Arsenal. Next season will be different. Most definitely will be different. We went out in the first round of the FA Cup. Do you know what I mean? We've not been playing games this season, and next season, hopefully, will be different. So there will be opportunities for all the players to play lots and lots of games.
So Rob,
Martinelli starts for me.
So Rob, like sticking to you for the strong team, right? For the striker position, are we going to bring in like Gabriel Jesus like directly right now, like for the next game? Yeah, you're now no longer playing for Manchester City. You're playing for Arsenal. With all the links that people have been talking about, like it's as good as he has already signed for Arsenal.
Is it?
I mean, I feel like this rumor is like, it's got some like serious legs, like where it's been reported by like really, really good sources. This move makes a lot of, like, it's been reported by one.
Why do City want to get rid of him?
Because they're getting Holland. And like, I mean,
really?
Yeah, I mean, he
Newcastle.
Newcastle
not going to get him.
Not going to get Holland.
Yeah, why not?
Because I don't think he'll want to go there.
When they say we'll give you £1 million a week.
I think simultaneously it makes a lot of sense for Holland to go to City, as well as it makes a lot of sense for Gabriel Jesus to come to Arsenal, where Holland's got that connection.
When Newcastle say we'll give you £1 million a week,
I think he's come out and said that he wants a system over money. And there's not a lot of better systems than Pep Guardiola.
I mean, Haaland is Haaland. Like, I don't know if you guys have followed him a little bit. Like, he's crazy. He's like ends lame and crazy. Like, literally.
He's a weirdo. I love it.
He's a weird person.
So Mitch, on your argument, why doesn't he not come to Arsenal then? If it's not money,
I don't think we're willing to like pay the outrageous like. We're not willing to pay like the like release clause and agent fee and stuff like that. Like there's a difference between that and then like wages, which is what you're saying for like Newcastle. I think he prefers I think he clearly wants to go to like a system like Manchester City or Real Madrid, probably the other option. But there's genuine links that he's probably going to be going to City. His dad played for City. I feel like that's a really, really good like connection of why he'd want to go there. That
was when they were a proper club, though.
Yeah, and then in the same sense, the Gabriel Jesus links make so much sense to me for Arsenal. The fact that I mean, credibly would want to leave I think City's gonna like very okay with him leaving. Arteta coached him at City, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think
No,
that's
it
because
could
as of
happen.
right now, we're looking at buying 2 players who can play the striker position. Having one of them be a profile that can play a variety of positions across the front line is super valuable.
And he's 25. He just turned 25. He's
25, really good age,
that
Premier League proven, can play left wing, can play right wing, can play striker. And then you bring him in alongside Tammy Abraham or Victor Osimhen, and we're like cooking when it comes to our attacking line. Like that's really, really good combination of differing profiles that we'd have at the striker position. We're playing a lot of matches next season, have a lot of time to rotate and stuff like that. And I think those moves, I think a move makes a lot of sense. And I think there's a good chance that we get it done really early in the summer. Usually I don't really put a lot of stock in transfer rumors in like
he just
late,
made you
late,
the sale. Like
late,
Mitch just made you the sale for like, yeah, you get behind this transfer because it's happening. That's what Mitch
not 3 weeks, not 3 weeks into the season.
late April is like a weird time to be like dealing with transfer rumors because you're like anything can mean anything, but like this is like something that I feel like has got some like serious legs, and I feel like is going to be very likely to happen sooner rather than later, and which would be exciting to get a signing done early in the summer.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like that has not
Big
been
time.
us for a while.
No.
And I feel like, especially with how we started this last season by losing the first 3 matches prior to finishing all of our summer business, I think we're going to want to be moving with a little bit more purpose at the beginning of the summer so that we have everything figured out by the start of the season, and we don't have the excuse of like, yeah, well, we're not starting our best lineup because we don't have anyone in yet. And also, I don't think we're gonna be like buying as many players. Like it's not gonna be as like a huge of a squad rebuild this summer as it was last. But I see the Gabriel Jesus move happening earlier rather than later in the summer.
Mm-hmm. Rob, are you sold now? Like, are you sold now? Like,
absolutely, it's happening.
But for this game, would you prefer Lacazette over Eddie, or do you want to stick to?
No, it's
I think Eddie's got to start. I don't think they're like Eddie needs to have a huge dip in form for Lacazette to have a sniff at the lineup right now. He's just offering so much more. Even when he doesn't score, like he didn't score against Manchester United, but he was still one of the best players on the pitch. Same thing in the Southampton game, where I wrote an article after that match calling for him to start against Chelsea, and he did, and it paid off, where he scored 2 goals. And he just offers a lot in terms of his movement. I think Lacazette's become a little bit predictable. Of him dropping deep was really beneficial at first. As a change of pace to what Aubameyang had been doing of just staying up top and wanting to play off the last man. I think Lacazette's come a little predictable, where it's very easy to track him inside. He's not doing a lot of dynamic movements because he's not really capable of it. But Eddie's able to get a lot of more movement. He's rotating with the wingers. When we've seen Martinelli or seen Saka on the wings, he'll move into the right half space and Saka will move inside, or vice versa with Martinelli on the left. He's dropping deeper to collect the ball, but he's also playing off the last man and trying to create runs for one of our creative players to play the ball into him. He's pressing really well high up the pitch. There's no reason for Eddie Nketiah to not be starting for Arsenal now. And he's creating something that's really, really, like, he's improved so much, and he's doing a lot more than he's not just this box in the box that he was, that he has been. Like he's becoming, adding more dimensions to his game, and wherever he ends up next season, he's gonna be a good player. Looking forward to seeing that, because I'll be rooting for him whether he's wearing the cannon or not next season. But I think that he's very easily the guy that we need to be starting at striker for the foreseeable.
That goal he scored, the first goal against Chelsea, it just showed his class. The way he put that away was beautiful, and showed he is
great
a proper striker. Proper striker.
Absolutely.
Lacazette, for me, I like Lacazette for his energy. However, Eddie's got the energy, and he can also finish. So yeah, no, Eddie's got to start.
Eddie for the start. So I know we have been talking about the game. So let's do a round of predictions. Rob, do you want to take a stab? I know we have to win the game, but what would be the scoreline that you think we would, and who would be the scorers?
4-0.
Whoa, that's a bold prediction. 4-0 to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Away to West Ham. Oh my god.
Really?
No.
Wow.
I think
I feel
we'll
like
score. We'll score early on, and we'll score a couple early on, and then I think West Ham will just fade away, and it'll be a very comfortable, easy afternoon.
I just hope that's true. Like, I just wish
I
that
hope so
that's
too.
true.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Mitch,
I feel like
And I'm normally
too much-
I'm normally reserved. I'm normally reserved in games. You know
no,
that.
especially because we scored 4 against Chelsea, even though it's different, and then 3 against
Yeah.
United. So another 4.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
I don't love doing predictions because I'm just like like I'm never gonna predict us to lose. Like we lost 3 straight games. I still predicted us to win every time. And like so I mean I think we'll win 2-0. I think that would be a great performance or a good scoreline. I mean, obviously I'd love 4-0. That'd be great, but I'm not confident that that'll
We're
happen.
not playing. We're not playing for another week. Leeds at home is our next game.
Yeah.
So we've got nothing to hold back on. We need
for
to
sure.
Just go for it.
Absolutely, and I hopefully we score early because that's been a big key for us. Going behind hasn't been our greatest ideas for us this season, so scoring early is really key. I mean, Saka's just been on a tear lately. I don't know what's like stopping him from scoring. I know his last 2 goals have been from the penalty spot, but even outside of that, he's just been like putting these fullbacks on the ropes. Alex Tellez had a nightmare of a match last time out. So I'm gonna go with 2-0 to the Arsenal.
I hope that it's a 4-0 and we get to celebrate that, that victory. And also I hope that we get to see Spurs lose before our game so that we are in a much better position.
The problem with that is Leicester in the same position as West Ham, and Leicester played. How did Leicester get on?
Oh,
I think they did Conference League, right? Yeah.
Yes. Did they? What was the score? I didn't catch that.
I am just checking that because I didn't follow the
They
conference. It was a 1-1 draw with Roma.
At home?
Okay.
Yeah, at home. So they have the.
Oh, that's good. At least they weren't traveling. That's good.
Yeah, they're gonna.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they're in the same position as West Ham. They played Thursday night.
I'm not really anticipating them dropping against Leicester, but like Liverpool next week, I anticipate hopefully Spurs dropping points.
Yeah, and we've got Leeds at home.
Yeah, but it's Spurs. I want them to lose the game. So.
Yeah, Leeds at home is actually obviously going to be harder than West Ham away, I think.
Hopefully Tottenham just lose out. That'd be great.
Yeah. They've not had one shot on target in their last 2 games.
So hopefully. Anyways, thanks guys. Thanks for joining in. It's a
more than welcome.
Position, and hopefully we'll what Rob has said comes to win 4-0.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining in. Talk to you. Bye.